I thought I'd make a video, right? Now, originally it was going to be a very aggressive rant video, probably my worst one yet. However, I remembered that I am a capybara, and capybaras are supposed to be chill. So I'll try to calm myself down and remake this video and try to just be more calm in the way I talk, right? So, I made a video about V3 My Day and Trippy, and yes, I fully predicted having people like this in my comments. However, it just ticks me off when people blame the consumer and not the predatory gacha company who does these things to make the consumer feel more vulnerable and want them to keep pulling for the newer DPS units so that they make more money, right? Now, I had someone in my comments saying that I was actually advocating for power creep because my day was as strong as the Herda, and I was happy about that. Now, I want to get something straight to these people who say something like this. My day being as strong as a previous DPS is not power creep, okay? Yes, Herda was power creep because she was significantly stronger than all of the previous DPS releases. However, my day being as strong as the Herda isn't power creep, okay? Power creep means stronger than the entirety of the cast by a noticeable margin. We don't even know how much stronger my day got. He might even still be slightly weaker than the Herda, but I don't even really care so long as he performs similarly, right? Now, I want to explain something to people. There's a reason why a new DPS drop being as strong as the previous one is both better than being stronger or being weaker. Now, the argument for these people is that if they make DPSs continuously weaker than the Herda, then that's a good thing. However, I actually disagree. The best case scenario is continually making DPSs as strong as the Herda, because then there's fairness in how much, let's say, investment you need in a team to clear the end game versus, like, let's say Acheron. Acheron for the most part needs a Jiao Q to even semi compete with a Herda, right? However, if all the new DPSs are equally as strong to the Herda, then there's going to be a lot of very good options for people to choose from, which is what people want at the end of the day, right? They want to be able to pull for a character they really liked and connected with and continue to use them for a long time in the end game. They don't want to feel like their character is half as strong as they used to be after only a few patches, because if you don't know, the last 4 patches the MOC HP inflation has been over like 150%. You can't even deny it, right? And the reason why him not being stronger is better is very obvious, right? The end game will always scale to the strongest DPS in the game. So if all of the new DPS releases are at the same level, then the MOC HP inflation should stagnate, or it might increase, but they might put more mechanics to make it easier to clear that said MOC, even if it has higher HP inflation, right? So a new DPS drop being weaker makes people not want to pull for them because it's just a waste of the pulls that they saved so long for. And if a new DPS is stronger, that's also bad because it makes older DPSs feel really bad. However, if a new DPS, such as my day, is near the same power level as Herda, whether slightly weaker, slightly stronger, or the same level, then that is the best case scenario. The endgame doesn't get any more difficult, it stagnates, the MOC HP inflation finally takes a break from constantly going up, and you can finally feel safe pulling for a new character, not being afraid that a character in 2 or 3 patches will be 50% stronger on release with better best in slot supports, which later on makes them like twice as strong as the new one, right? This is basically what Herda did. However, there's nothing you can do about that. We can't go back in time, right? So once again, it is not the consumer's fault for being happy about my day being as strong as the Herda, because that's good, right? Being as strong as a previous DPS release is good. That isn't wanting power creep. That's just wanting a DPS who is as good as the previous one, meaning that there isn't really much better options, and that he's a fine guy to pull on, right? He's a good character to pull on for the end game, and you aren't going to struggle compared to someone who also pulled Herta. That's good, right? So, once again, I have to say this multiple times to get it through people's heads. No one wants to waste the 2 months of Jades that they saved up for a weaker character to make themselves struggle in the endgame more. And people don't want a stronger DPS release, and they only want DPSs that are continually on the same power level, so that the end game stops getting MOC HP inflation, and there are a lot more variety in what DPSs you can choose from. I want to use Wuwa as an example here, right? I don't even play that Wuwa that often. However, when people ask me about who should I pull in Wuwa for a DPS, I always tell them that they can literally pull whoever the fuck they want, right? Because there's like 3 or 4 limited DPSs in Wuwa that are all at the top of the food chain and all very similar in DPS levels. So it's honestly fine to just pull for whoever you like more, because the difference between the 3 or 4 is very minimal. I wish I could say the same thing in this game. However, I refuse to lie to my audience and pretend like, oh, my day being as strong as a 2.x DPS, when Casterus, the anniversary DPS drop, is right after him and is likely going to power creep the rest of the cast. Okay, I've already said this. I've said this. I've predicted it a million times. The chances of Casterus being stronger than the rest of the DPS cast by a significant amount, cough cough power creep, is very, very high. And that's why I've recommended people, if you're going to go for an HP scaling DPS, the best meta-wise would likely be Casterus, right? However, what is the issue with wanting a DPS release to be as strong as the previous one? I would like to be proven wrong, right? I would love to be proven wrong by Hoyo, and they make Casterus just as strong as My Day, right? My Day and Casterus are the same power level, which means they're also similar to the Herta. Phanon then releases, and Phanon is also similar to all of them. And then, oh my god, it's a jolly good time. We can all choose from 4 different DPSs that are all as strong as each other, and the endgame HP doesn't get any higher, right? However, you may have realized at this point that this is a complete fucking fantasy, okay? This won't happen. They will continue to do the MOC HP inflation, even if it stagnates for only 1 or 2 patches. It will continue. Characters will continue to get stronger. All you have to do is have some pattern recognition. 1.x DPSs are significantly weaker than 2.x ones, and 2.x ones are already being left in the dust by the 3.x ones. Herta's the first DPS of 3.x, and she's already significantly stronger than the old cast, even without her best in slot teammates. So if that's any sign of what's to come in the future of like late 3.x, bro, do not blame the consumer for wanting to get the best pull for the Jades they've saved. It is not the consumer's fault. It's not that they want power creep. It's just that they want the most value out of their Jades. And anyone who has any type of brain and has been playing this game for long enough can tell that pulling for the big DPS drops, Casterus, she's super important in the story. Phanon, right? Phanon's from high 3. He's likely going to be the next meta character. People instantly pick it up. They instantly pick it up and realize I should probably save my Jades for these comps because they'll get me the most value for my pulls. So that's the video. I don't want to go any further into this. It's good for a new DPS to be as strong as the previous one. However, in reality, My Day will likely be power crept by Casterus instantly right after, right? It's simply the sad truth that we all have to deal with. There's nothing we can do about it, and it is not the consumer's fault once again. I have to say this to the dumbasses out there. It is not the consumer's fault for wanting to use the 2 months of Jades they saved up for on a character that will actually last them a decent amount of time. I love you all. I hope you all have a good day. I hope you all have a good night. Peace.